And they will join me on stage, Mr. Billy Houston. Mr. Billy is the Executive Director of Tri-River Waterways Development Association. Mr. Jay Jaxon, Mayor Emeritus of the City of Eufaula. And Mr. Doug Purcell, Executive Director Emeritus and Board Chair of the Historic Chattahoochee Commission. Gentlemen, if you'll make sure your mics are on. The first question for our panel this evening: what are the great things that we have done and accomplished that Eufaula can be proud of as a community?
Well, I'll start out by mentioning a few things. Eufaula has developed the first public school system in the state of Alabama in 1872. Education has always been very important for Eufaula since its very beginning, with male and female academies, and then the first public school system, 1872, and also support for Union Female College, or Burnell College, in Eufaula. We've also had a very aggressive industrial development program. If you walk through downtown Eufaula and look up at the Eufaula Agency building, you'll see the Eufaula Board of Trade, 1872, early Chamber of Commerce for Eufaula and Barber County. And of course, we have Eufaula Barber County Chamber of Commerce now, which is doing an excellent job under difficult circumstances. And Eufaula has been very involved in boosterism over the years. That's an archaic term, but we have early on were able to get railroads to come through here. We've already heard about the mill development. I've mentioned Union Female College, Lake Point Resort State Park, the Sparks campus of Wallace Community College, the Lock and Dam. Even though it's at Fort Gaines, it generated a major recreational industrial asset for Eufaula. And last but not least, the branch courthouse here in Eufaula. We've got obviously the county seat in Clayton, but Eufaula has a branch courthouse. So those have all been positive developments in my view for Eufaula over time.
Great, thank you.
Jay, you last, I guess, but yeah. To me, we have created Eufaula as a destination place. And I think, of course, Lake Eufaula and our Eufaula pilgrimage, and the recreation component, the largemouth bass and crappie, and the boating and camping aspect of it. It's with the lake, it's the destination. Then I think with the quality of life issues that we have been able to bring forward, and that is housing for a lot of people. Education is, with the O.B. Carters and the Dan Parkers and the S.O. E.M. Whites and S.O. Corbett's, Warren Corbett's, and the black and the white aspect of it. And I want to, my friend Mo Erkins and I shared a conversation yesterday. And Mo, if I may, I'm going to mention what you said about, I mentioned to Mo about being an African American. And Mo said, Billy, I'm going to treat you another term. He said, I'm an American with African descent. And I think that is extremely important, Mo, and we appreciate that very much doing that. But our education, our medical facilities that we've been able to bring forward, the recreation components, hunting, fishing, boating, hiking, golfing, tennis, outdoor work. It's perfect to be here in Eufaula. The economy, the diversity of our economy is fantastic, and leadership, the political connections of James S. Clark, which is fantastic, are doing that and carried on. Weather, our 9 months weather when you're selling people on moving here. The affordability, and then as Doug mentioned, the transportation. I think the arteries of, we have rail, short line, we have the river, short line sometimes, and then we have, of course, the major highways that Jimmy Clark had a lot to do with it expanding. Mr. Mayor?
Well, I'd like to talk a little bit about maybe where we're going. But first, I'd like to point out at the intersection of Barber Street and Randolph, there is a statue to a Baptist minister, Dr. Wharton, I think. I'm going to go by tomorrow and check, make sure it's not Jonathan Davis. The second thing I'm going to say, when I came back to Eufaula and went in family business, my dad told me, and this reflects on this community, my dad said, son, if anybody comes in here and they work at Kayaki Mills, you let them have anything they want because they're going to pay you. You better watch out for your friends at the country club. They're a little slower. The town has come together, and it's faced a lot of challenges, not the least of which was 2007, the recession, because our companies were blowing and going. We had a lot of real estate developments. During that period of time, we had 16 proposed subdivisions at City Hall. One included a new marina and a Ritz-Carlton hotel north of town. Seems a little far-fetched now, but in that day, it was not. We were trying our best to accommodate people. And then the economy did go. It's the subject of a presidential campaign about jobs. You know, if NAFTA hadn't been talked about in years, but it's being talked about in this presidential campaign. And Wayne pointed out what NAFTA did to the South. But what are we going to do about it? Because while those jobs went offshore, now there's a reshoring effort, but those jobs aren't coming back the way they were. You can look at General Electric. How can you have a larger all-American company than General Electric, or one that we're more proud of? In 1995, 68% of their employees were in the U.S. Today, 38% of their employees are in the U.S. They've grown. They've gone from 220,000 people in 95 to 330,000 people globally. But they have less employees in the United States now than they did in 1995. So we've got to work hard. I do think quality of life is going to make a difference. One of the points that I wanted to make, Amy, was providing the infrastructure for those jobs where you can live anywhere you want and attract people with the quality of life. I noticed in the paper the other day, I saw Kyle come in, there's this great article about Eufaula being named one of the safest places in Alabama to live. One of the top 10, maybe 5. What a great thing to help sell a community in today's world. So the quality of life issues are going to always be important. I think we need a next generation healthcare facility. Our hospital is doing well. We salvaged it from one that was going bankrupt, but it's a 1952 building. Fortunately, it's got high technology in there, but what's next? In the new healthcare world, what are we going to do to address that need? I think that's important. I think the educational efforts have got to be enhanced. They've got to be stronger, and not just in Eufaula, but in our region, reaching across the river, reaching out in the county. That's our labor force. So I think there's got to be the emphasis on that.
One last question. I guess I'll tie these two together for you. The river was vital to Eufaula's early economy as a means of transportation and commerce. Now the lake plays a major role in Eufaula's economy, not only through recreation, but also a natural resource for manufacturing processes in the local economy. How do you foresee this natural resource playing a role in developing Eufaula's economy in the years to come? And then what do you foresee, or how do you foresee Eufaula redefining itself in the 21st century?
Amy, I'll lead off on that since I'm sort of a rubber man at the moment there. I think it's going to take the leadership effort of a lot of people to bring the river back to what it needs to be, to bring the system back to be. This is not a river that it's in Eufaula. It starts in Gainesville, Georgia, above Atlanta, and ends up in Apalachicola Bay, over 300, almost 400 miles. The part that we are very interested in is called the ACF Rivers System, and that is from Columbus, Phoenix City area to Apalachicola Bay, and 28 miles up to Bainbridge, which is the navigable part of the river. It's broken. It started breaking with the not building the projects on the Flynt, 3 projects on the Flynt they were supposed to do, and Jimmy Carter vetoed those during the construction aspect of it when he was president. So that put strain on the Apalachicola River. Therefore, we've been trying to do a commercial navigation with a broken system, and it's been very expensive, and so it's just not working. And therefore, we have not been spending a lot of money on maintenance that we need to do. So, number one, we have to repair our infrastructure to standards. Authorized usage needs to be brought up to standards, and that's going to probably takes a lot of money. You know, we have a lock, Walter F. George lock, that is now broken. The decision now is in the Corps of Engineers' hands of whether to fix that lock and get us back to an authorized use of commercial navigation, or to fix the lock and board it up where it can no longer be used. Will be a decision within the next probably 60 days aspect of it. And we have been trying to we've had meetings with it and with the Corps and other things, and so we're looking at that. The Appalachian River maintenance for transportation, it's an annual requirement of dredging, of creating sites to put the dredging materials on, which has been a big issue, an environmental issue. These snagging annually, these maintenance situations. We need a channel survey every 5 years that a good, navigable waterway needs and has and should have, and that's what we're asking. We need a water control manual from the Corps that's now being updated, and they'll be brought out. All the public input has been put in, and they will bring it out here in the next several months. And we hope that we'll have a water control manual that protects these authorized usage. And we've identified metrics we need: 1,350 CFS in Columbus, 1,850 in Columbus for Midwest Vaco, for West Rock, now. And we need 2,000 for Farley Nuclear. We've identified those, channel mount. We're looking at a seasonal commercial system. We have promoted that and tried to work with that aspect of it. Then we need to market this waterway. We need uses on it. And we need to look at that metro Atlanta area that's going to grow by 4 million people within the next, by 2030 almost. Where are they going to recreate? Let them, if we can have an authorized channel and we can have a good system, let them come here. And I'll just stop with that.
Mr. J, Mr. Dodd?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, Dr. Flynt mentioned that Eufaula has a very diversified economy, and one of the things he mentioned is that 30% of our jobs are in the manufacturing sector. And I don't want us to lose sight of the fact that existing industry expansion accounts for 65 to 80% of all new jobs in a community. So we need to cultivate our existing industries and help them grow, stay in contact with them to learn what their problems and issues are, and then try and address them, not only to keep them here in Eufaula, but to help allow them to expand at some point in the future. In most communities, existing industry is more important than the occasional new industry that lands in Eufaula. We're very fortunate, and this was mentioned in today's issue of the Tribune, in a news release from the mayor's office, and talking about Carbo, which some bad news there, but the good news to help offset that to a degree is what has happened at Emeritus and the possibility for 200 new jobs there in the coming years. But another thing that I think we need to do, and we've done this successfully in the past, is to focus on attracting retirees here to Eufaula. They will come here for a lot of reasons, but we need to be sure that we have outstanding healthcare facilities to tend to the aging baby boomer group that might decide to come to Eufaula. We already attract a lot of retirees, primarily from the Midwest, but also from other parts of the country as well. We need to build on Eufaula's successful heritage, recreational tourism industry, what has been done with our historic resources, the outstanding opportunities offered by Lake Eufaula. And the other point that I want to make is, as part of our efforts to lure visitors and tourists into this area, to attract retirees, image is very important. And we're very fortunate to have an outstanding city horticulture department which does an exceptional job, but we have some negatives that need to be overcome. Litter is one of the big problems here. That is a major image issue, not only for Eufaula, but other places in the South. And so we need to look at issues that detract from our image and possibly would deter someone from deciding to move to Eufaula or even to come here to spend a weekend at Lake Point Resort State Park or to take advantage of some of our other historical and recreational attractions.
Wayne talked about towns being able to come together. And I think part of our success in the past and our success in the future will be coming together. During the Slade administration, when Sam Slade was married, they came up with the Eufaula 2000 plan. And there were 30-something objectives in that plan, and the last I can remember, through the years, not just while he was mayor, but every one of those objectives was accomplished with the exception of one. And that got back to the argument of an alternate route or through town. The 2020 plan was put in place where 9% of the people of Eufaula touched that plan. It was active, it was aggressive, and a lot of good things came out of that plan, a lot yet to be done. The Alabama Humanities of Excellence designation has been given to Eufaula, and we even came up with a later strategic plan than that. But I think the greatest asset in coming together are people like you that have taken the time to come out here tonight. Because first of all, you care. There may be a few students here who maybe came for extra credit or had to. But it's good for you. But it's because you care. And I can look around this room and just see so many people that volunteered so much time and effort to make Eufaula a better place, because it's not going to all start at City Hall or the courthouse for the county commission. It's going to be the volunteers. So it's that coming together, whatever vehicle is used going forward, that's going to make the difference, because we're bright enough and smart enough and hardworking enough if we work together to make our future. And I think that's going to be our strength. The other thing, let me just close my little remarks with this. The next time that you have a panel like this talking about Eufaula and its future, my recommendation is that you find some people that are younger. You find people to represent our diversity.
Sure.
And I make up according to gender.
Okay.
Amy, I would like to say sustainability and environmental soundness also needs to be on our river system. When we talked about that, we must, everything we do, we must make sustainability for the future generations aspect of it.
Certainly.
And one last comment too, and following up on the reference to the young people here, and I hope you will take away something of interest here, but y'all are the future of our city or our county or our country or wherever you decide to settle. But education is the foundation of everything that in this community and any other community. Get a good education. If you can, get a college education and get involved in your community. In a meeting that we had leading up to this, Mayor Jaxon mentioned that there are 22 city commissions and boards, and they're often looking for good people to serve and get involved as a volunteer. So there's some of you here that perhaps might be interested in doing that. If so, get in touch with City Hall, but get involved. Working together, we can make a big difference in Eufaula.
Thank you. Thank you to our panelists for this evening, Mr. Jaxon, Mr. Houston, and Mr. Purcell. We appreciate you sharing your memories, insight, and vision with us. To Dr. Flynt, thank you for your enlightening and thought-provoking talk. It has truly been an honor to have you in Eufaula. And let's give these gentlemen a round of applause.
Amy, may I just something in closing on the last thing about
You may.
Eufaula, just doing that. Doug just hit on it, and I've got on this that, you know, young people, young, educated, experienced young people wanting to and moving back to Eufaula. That's the lifeblood of Eufaula. That's what you got to reach out to get. Young, educated, experienced, and coming in and wanting to make and bringing families. You may have to bring a job with you. In other words, you may be a profession, it may be a trade, or you may be following up on, you know, finding a niche in here. But that's so important.
This is a lot of the Eufaula High School seniors that are up here. In the past 2 weeks, they've won 2 state championships related to economics.
Very good. Very good. Congratulations, guys. At this time, the Wallace diplomats will pass out, and then they will collect from you the evaluation form for tonight's discussion. Please complete these forms and turn them to one of the diplomats as you leave. As you exit, in keeping with tonight's theme, where have we been and where are we going, we would also appreciate you as the audience sharing your thoughts with us. Share a memory of Eufaula, and please share a vision for our future. Cards and pens are available on the tables right outside the doors, and you can fill out your thoughts there. Some of you may have already shared your thoughts with us earlier this evening, and we appreciate that. We invite you to stay and view the artifacts exhibit in the rotunda and the panels down the hallway. A special thanks to Marcia Hudson, Jane French, Christy McLeod for their help and assistance in collecting all of those and putting the panels together. We will also rerun the oral histories of Eufaula immediately after the program in here. So if you'd like to stay and do that first and then look at the exhibit, that would be great. We thank you for spending the evening here with us at Wallace Community College. We hope that you will stay and continue to enjoy the exhibits. Thank you.